Welcome to another episode of the Greater Culture Podcast with our Meet the Member series. And so today I'm excited to be joined by Cristof. Cristof, I'm trying to remember now. You've probably been with us for a good number of months now.
Yeah, it's going at, I'd say 4 months.
4 months or so now.
Mid-August.
Yeah. I'm excited to learn a little bit more about your journey and how you came to find us over here and what life has been like. But love for folks to get to know you just a little bit better. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name's Cristof Enssslin, 47 years old. And as you may be able to tell, my accent is not native. Even though I try to mimic the accent, the local accent once in a while, out of love, not out of trying to make fun, because I love accents in general, and the local one specifically. So I came from Germany in 2010. My wife's American, and so we moved here in 2010 and came to the Fuquay area in 2024. Basically just over a year ago.
Yeah.
And
what brought you to the U.S. originally back in 2010?
Basically love.
Yeah,
the good old story, love. I met my wife in New York City, the city of love, for us at least. She was a UN tour guide. I was a tourist, and she was my tour guide, and now she's my life guide. So it was kind of love at first sight, and we managed to reduce the distance over a year. She came to Germany, I think in 2005. We got married in 2007 in Germany, and then 2010 it was time to switch home turf, and we haven't switched since.
Yeah, that sounds like a movie in the making of like tourist comes over, meets the tour guide, they fall in love, and then end up getting married. So
exactly,
that might be a great movie in there somewhere.
Yeah.
And so you moved to the States. Where did you originally live then when you moved here to the U.S. and started to live with her?
Yeah, the Asheville area.
Asheville.
Yeah.
Okay. And what made you pick that area of the country to settle?
Interesting story. Coming out of my love for bicycling and triathlon, that's what I was kind of doing in that phase of my life. And I was reading Lance Armstrong's book, It's Not About the Bike.
Yeah.
And in there he writes about that after coming out of chemotherapy in the 90s, he went to the Blue Ridge Parkway, to near Grandfather Mountain, and would use the Blue Ridge Parkway and some stint roads to it to train, get over, to rebuild his fitness and prepare for the Tour de France. And I was like, what? 469-mile road that doesn't have any traffic lights and goes up and down and left and right through beautiful nature? I got to see that.
Yeah.
So we went on a road trip. I came from Germany and went on a road trip in 2010 without a bike, but just, to see the place and just looked at the map. So where can we stay overnight? And, on a map, there's Asheville. Had never heard anything about Asheville. And then we stopped there, found a hotel, and 3 days later we had signed a lease for an apartment.
Really?
And had decided to move.
Wow. That's pretty incredible to read about it in a book, go see it, and then immediately just decide, hey, this is where we want to be for a little while now.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what got you into triathlons? And you said that during that period of your life, you were into triathlons.
Yeah.
So how did you find your way into triathlons?
Well, I've been a bicyclist coming out of high school and my youth, basically. A little bit of running also. Very little, basically no swimming, maybe a little breaststroke, but that's it. Otherwise, mostly bicycling, some running. And during college, I think it was my sophomore year, I felt like, okay, I need a little challenge. So I decided I'm going to do a triathlon, and I'm going to go straight to the long distance, to the Ironman distance.
Oh, wow.
So I signed up for the local triathlon club, like the university triathlon club, and they taught me how to swim, and I went bicycling with them, running with them. Then after, I think I had 9 months from my first training session to the actual race, and it was good. I finished.
You finished?
Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible, especially an Ironman. That's one of the more challenging feats. Do you remember how long it took you to finish that race?
I think it was just over 12 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I mean, it's funny in the CrossFit world, when we think about a long workout, it's like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And to move for 12 hours, incredible. And so you finished the Ironman. Was that something then that stayed consistent for you, of just continually training and pushing yourself with triathlons?
Pretty much, yeah, like shorter races in between, and then another, like I did the same race again the next year. Then I started working. I graduated from college and I started working and left 1 year out. But then another, I think 2007 was then my third start and finish. Was also my slowest.
Oh.
But yeah, and then it kind of fizzled out. I did a couple of shorter races and starting 2009, my whole fitness, my whole physical activity kind of died down.
Yeah.
To maybe an occasional walk or a hike to a waterfall. Or
Yeah.
Nothing, no bicycling much anymore. Actually, besides 2011, we bicycled the entire Blue Ridge Parkway.
You did? Okay.
In 10 days. After that, it was kind of, no, I'm finished.
What do you feel like led to that transition? Because I think a lot of people experience that of maybe they're fitness or active in one way, they get a job, family, whatever it is, and all of a sudden it seems like fitness takes a back seat. So what was that transition like for you of going from Ironman training and working through that to like being a little bit more
from the lifestyle of being a triathlete?
Yeah.
Well, I was until end of 2009, I was in banking and had regular, like an employee. It was long hours, but it was structured. So I could kind of build in some training hours. And then 2010, moving here, I became self-employed completely. So kind of structure goes away, at least in my case, the way I ran my business. And so I didn't, and I needed to build up that business. So kind of the whole physical aspect of it, that's very important, that just fell off the cliff. And only after I had significant weight gain. And actually last year I did a 3-month meditation retreat, and halfway through it I had really bad back pain, spasmic, and like became almost unconscious a couple of times, and went to the Emerge Ortho and got physical therapy and everything like that. And that was for me the wake-up call. It's like, if I just sit all day taking care of my business, it's not gonna go any much longer.
Yeah.
And so
it's kind of amazing how usually it's like some either event or moment where it's like, ooh, like things aren't going the way that I'd like them to, the pain that you experience. And so it sounds like that was more of like a
very
gradual thing. Like it wasn't like, yeah. And so you mentioned, having moved to Nashville and being with your wife, was she pretty active too? Was it something that like was part of your lifestyle together of trying to be active?
Not really, no.
Not as much.
She's not as active.
Yeah. I think that's the other piece that's, I think, interesting too, is when you've got significant other, husband or wife, it's kind of like, what's our lifestyle look like? Right. Is this part of it or is it not? Yeah. And that's where some people, I think, sounds like it's struggle as well.
Yeah, she's self-employed as well. She's all about, deep dive into the business. And then some relaxation, watching movie, reading book, going out to eat. So that became our lifestyle, and I enjoyed it. And until that wake-up call went back.
Was the experience with the back pain, was that just being in like a seated position, kind of like deep in meditation, or was it a specific position that sort of flared or triggered up the back pain?
That is still a little mystical to me, because the meditation that I practice is all about relaxing, keeping a fairly relaxed posture.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure whether it was just the long sittings for a couple of months, combined with maybe a mattress that wasn't ideal, and then the atrophied muscles through 15 years of not doing much sports. So it was probably a combination, I'd say, that led to that. Fortunately, I had no disc issues.
Yep. Yeah. And I think a lot of people could probably relate to that as well, of in our current lifestyle, a lot of sitting at desks or sitting while we're traveling. While we might want to pinpoint it's the one thing, it's usually a combination of a variety of things that can lead to that. So you experienced some of that back pain. That was the wake-up call. What did it look like after that wake-up call then, of like, what did you get into or start working back towards to try and improve some of that health and fitness?
First PT and some swimming, because that was kind of the only thing I really could do without too much pain. And then Hurricane Helene hit. Yeah. So we were living in the Asheville area at that time, and we basically were ousted. And we have 5 cats, and we needed to evacuate, trying to find a place where we could take all our cats. And the closest Airbnb or hotel or apartment complex that took us was here in the Raleigh area. First Raleigh, then in Durham. So it was quite far away.
Yeah.
And that's how we got into this area and started to like it, and then decided to actually move here after, in the end, already done by last November, like within 2 months of the evacuation.
Yeah. So what happened to
yeah.
the residents then in Asheville? So you got evacuated.
Yeah.
The house withstand?
Our house fortunately was fine.
It was fine, okay.
We had like a 1.3 mile gravel road, privately maintained from the HOA, that got washed out completely. Wow. Yeah, but in the end, we were very, very fortunate because the house and us, we were fine. But with that, there was a lot of stress, and then stress aid. I suddenly was, like, after 3 months, I had 10 pounds more.
Yeah.
And then I saw, like, okay, if I continue that, then the back pain or other things are gonna come back, and I got to do something. And so I started to rope jump.
Nice. Yeah.
End of January of this year, I said, okay, what can I do at home? I don't want to do running right now. I don't have a bicycle. Swimming pool is 40 minutes away from where we live now. So what can I do effectively? And I said, I have a jump rope at home. So let me do that. And I went on a 100-day rope jumping challenge.
Really?
And actually, daily, in the beginning, just a minute or 2 or 3. And then up to, like, my longest stint was, I think, 5,000 jumps in like 45 minutes or something.
No kidding.
Yeah. And I ended up doing 130 days.
Yep.
And that 130th day was the day I started, or the day before my first session here at CrossFit.
Yeah.
And then I said, I don't need rope jumping anymore. Now we do occasional rope jumping.
Yeah,
here,
once in a while, right? Yeah, helps get you ready for it.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's fascinating. And I love the, I mean, if you want to call it the autonomy, but just the ability to say, like, hey, I'm going to figure something out at home with what I've got.
Right.
Because I think there are times where people start to say, well, I've got to go join the gym or go here or go there. But, like, there's a lot of things you can do at home that can help improve your health and fitness.
I had big aversion against the gym.
Yeah.
Because, I used to go to the Y to go swimming in the Asheville area. I loved that. But whenever I looked at the gym area, I felt like, people are stern. They're all a buff and everybody on their AirPods. And that's not, it doesn't, and I don't like the machines. Yep. So that's not what I want to do. When we met, we happened to meet, I think, in May or something like that.
Like a chamber
at a chamber event. And when you said CrossFit, okay, like, nice. Maybe I'll try it one day just to see. Yeah. And then I actually did in August. Yeah. But it took me a while to overcome that aversion against the institution of gyms. And then I found out, hey, this is awesome. First of all, it's not just, like, people are talking with each other, and it's not just like machines. It's actually, like, every day is a different workout. Yeah. And I really love that. I come here and I'm surprised. Like, what are we doing today? It's a great way to learn a lot of new movements, get a lot of wins, and then you start to see some of the progress, which I think is, for most folks, what they appreciate. And then the community certainly pulls people in. Yeah. As somebody who came from an endurance background, taking some time off, jump rope, what was the transition then like when you started taking classes here at the gym? What was that initial part of the journey like? Actually, so just before with the trigger to actually, for me, trying that 7-day free trial of yours here was an identity shift that I did. In the beginning of the year, that move to rope jumping was me remembering, hey, deep inside me, I'm an physically active person. Yeah. So I took on that identity, and that made me stick to the 100-day rope jumping challenge. And then I said, like, physically active is nice, but I feel more than that. I remember that I'm this triathlete. I had no interest in triathlon anymore, but then it's like, let me just cut off the tri and stick with that, like, take on that identity of the athlete again. And then some ideas spurred in my mind, like the vision, like, I want to walk on hands, like, be badass and walk on hands. I finally want to be able to do a pull-up. I felt like a kind of a shame to, like, I can't even do a pull-up. I've always been weak in my arms, and maybe a little too heavy, a little overweight, and not just a little, but I was overweight in medical standards. So, like, that's kind of embarrassing. Like, I'm fit and generally fit and healthy person, but I can't do these things. So I want to learn that. And then came the idea, like, I met Brad and there's free trial. Free trials are great. Can't lose anything. And that combo, then when we talked here in the lobby the first time, the interview was like, I told you, like, I want to be able to walk on hands, and finally at one point I do my first pull-up, right?
Yep.
I said push-up earlier.
Yeah, pull-up.
Pull-up.
Yep.
Always about pull-ups. And you said, yeah, that's what you can learn here. I saw the sparks in your eyes. Like, that's exactly what we do here.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny too, because a lot of times when people come to meet or to start their journey, that's usually not one of the things they say is like, I want to be able to walk on my hands. And I'm like, oh, like, have you done it before? Are you a gymnast? Those types of things, because it is a fun experience to build up to that level. But I do think, like, getting your first pull up, being able to feel like you're competent with weightlifting or being strong, those are things we typically hear, losing weight. So I think that was certainly something that, we see, but it was really cool to hear that identity shift of who you saw yourself as made you then be able to come and now stick with it pretty consistently. I think that's something that we see in a lot of people is to truly get something to stick from a lifestyle perspective. It does have to shift their identity and how they think about themselves, how they view themselves, and change that. And so you did some of that work on your own. Did you learn from somebody like how to do that identity shift and really work on changing the perspective or the way you think about yourself?
I've been studying the field of like psychology and how the mind works for almost 10 years now, with a lot of coming from the meditation angle at first, but then learning more and more about psychology, Atomic Habits, or the Charles Duhigg book about, I don't know exactly the titles, but it's about habit building. That also James Clear refers to. All of that work was very fascinating to me, and they talk all about building habits, which is great. But habits, and actually you gave a talk in September that at the fitness summit here that mentioned that this habits as I would say the second ring of how the psyche works. The outer ring is, or personality works. The outer ring is all about results. The middle ring is all about processes, habits, and the core is the identity. And if I work on the identity, it becomes super easy to build habits. If I have habits, I can very easily get results. If I only work on the results level, it's very, very difficult to commit to something. If I have habits, that can help, but I can easily slip into wrong habits. So if I have a certain identity, then I can actually work on building the right habits. And it's just your question was, how did I get to that? Yeah. It's basically learning by reading a lot, learning by reflecting a lot, and then applying, seeing what works for me and what doesn't.
Yeah. And so now, 4 months or so into the journey, obviously when you came in, you had specific goals, pull up, getting the opportunity to get upside down on your hands. Throughout the journey now over these 4 months, what are some of the things that either you've noticed or you've experienced, or things that have kept you motivated along the way here?
So I came for the vanity, right? I was 194. I had already, how was it? I was in the 190s in January, and then I lost about 10 pounds throughout the rope jumping. Then I regained it because I started eating again, or actually I stopped tracking calories. I put it back on, and then the breakthrough came only once I started here, and took on more of that identity work. And then so I saw that with this practice, I can break through a weight level that I had always kind of been stuck at. It's not the glass ceiling, but the glass floor that I was never able to get under my whole adult life. But that was around 183 level. Now I'm 175 or so this morning, and I'm trying to get a little lower. Also, I see the body fat has reduced. So all of these are great results that I see. A body composition, like my looks in the mirror, everything is very motivating. And I said I came for the vanity. I'm staying for, because I think the saying goes, you come for the vanity and you stay for the sanity. But for me, it's come for the vanity and stay for the community. Sanity is a nice byproduct too, but what I really love here is the community. What is really motivating. Like one instance, so I'm usually part of the 6:30 a.m. group. Awesome awesome group of people, fist pumping, firing each other up and celebrating wins. But the kind of the aha moment, what this entire greater culture community is so awesome in my eyes, is when I one time went to the 12 o'clock class, the first time, all new faces. They had never heard about me. I had never heard about them. And I think it was a Metcon that was X rounds for time.
Mm-hmm.
As a beginner in CrossFit, one of the slowest, maybe the slowest in that occasion. And everybody was kind of still hanging around. And, it took a minute or two or three longer than everyone else. And they were actually, I think it was Fernando, if I remember correctly. He was like, "Look, Cristof!" And he had, for the first time, met me. Yeah. From a coach, I'd expect that, but not from the rest of the community. And so, the community is what really keeps me here. And then the results that I see, like I'm able to hold a handstand now, wall supported, mind you, but still working on that pull-up. But the handstand is there, and the wall walks, which I couldn't do at all in the beginning. So it's kind of the stepping stones of the yellow brick road is unfolding.
Yeah. And I think that's the fun part about, especially somebody early on in their fitness journey, is like you're going to see a lot of wins, like whether it's the vanity pieces of you maybe notice weight loss or getting stronger, then you'll notice some of the wins in the gym of like, oh, last week I lifted this much, this week I'm lifting more. So you see a lot of that trending. And then when you mix in the community aspect, it certainly does help you stay a little bit more consistent with it. So we always love to ask our folks here who are on the podcast about some of their favorite movements. And so a lot of new movements for you in CrossFit, but what would you say is one of your favorite movements where if you see it on the workout, you get excited for that day? Jumping, yeah.
Whether it's box jumping, rope jumping, anything in that way, and rowing.
Okay. Nice.
I also love running.
I know, yeah.
But rowing is one of my favorites, and any jumping movements.
Yeah. All right. So how about the other side of it? What is a movement that either still gives you challenge or maybe isn't your favorite one when you see it programmed?
Snatches,
yeah.
And I have respect for anything on the rig.
Yeah.
So I like that it's not like I don't want to go that day because it's on it. But I'm like, I want to go because that's exactly what I want to learn.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of respect for it.
Sometimes it can feel like those movements on the rig take longer to master or to be able to do compared to like lifting a barbell, because you can lighten the load on a barbell, but all of a sudden it's like, hey, I'm working on my first pull-up or I'm working on getting my feet up for toes to bar. Sometimes it just feels like it takes longer to be able to develop some of that stuff. So I can certainly understand why. One of the things you mentioned was working through the mindset and just the perspective of what a gym can look like. And I think a lot of people experience that, being intimidated, maybe being a little bit scared, a little bit concerned about their fitness level and how that might look walking into a gym. What sort of tips, what sort of advice maybe would you give somebody who's maybe in that boat of like, I'd like to make a change or I want to do something different, but I'm a little bit timid or a little bit hesitant to try something out like CrossFit? Anything that you'd share with them?
One of the biggest aha moments I had in the first week, the trial week, was that I don't have to be one of the super fit guys starting out. I can simply, you offer all these scaled versions of everything, which makes it super accessible. I can participate in all the movements, be it at a scaled level. So my tip for people considering trying out CrossFit is really just go on that 7-day free trial, or maybe even book a month of membership after that and dive into that just to see what happens. So give it a fair chance, basically. And but before that, take on the identity that you want. It can be an athlete, but athlete is not for everyone. Some people maybe just they want to be a person who feels strong or likes to look in the mirror. There's no right or wrong here. It's just, maybe it's about confidence. So to really think in your psyche, what is the personality that you'd like to be? And then out of that identity, come here and see whether it is aligned. Come here or try out anything else for that matter, and see what aligns best with that identity that you really want to emanate.
Yeah, I love that. So it's like we have this idea of the person we want to be or that we're striving towards, and then finding community, a gym, habits that are going to try and continue to push you in that direction.
Exactly.
And so that's fantastic, whether it's CrossFit, a different fitness endeavor, because we've certainly seen that as well. If people come here, they get a great foundation and a base of fitness, and they want to go do other things, like go and do their first triathlon or go do a Spartan race or high rock. So it's fun to have a foundational level of fitness that allows you to go have fun and explore life outside. Well, and I know we're excited too, because since you've been here and we've connected on mindfulness and meditation, we're excited to help people along that journey as well. And so coming up in just a short amount of time, we're going to be doing a workshop with helping people establish some goals for 2026 and really start to look at the identity piece of it, of how do we tap into that might give us a better opportunity to be successful. And so we've really enjoyed having you as a member, excited to see how you can continue to contribute to the community here and teach some folks and help them understand how they can maybe improve their journey. So thanks so much for sharing your story and for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, Brad. I'm excited to be part of this community and looking forward to many more, or a good time ahead. However long it goes.
We'll keep chasing down those pull-ups and those handstands. Before long, we'll get those. So
very good.
Awesome.
Nice.